All right, folks, so this is the second video for week 5. This is where I'm going to go through the peer review discussion post instructions in a little bit more detail, but let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so in the module for week number 5, right, we have the link here to the discussion board for the peer review. So what I want you to think about first is what we want from the peer review process, right? So I want us to think about the fact that we're not here to judge one another. We're actually here to provide useful, constructive feedback, right? We don't want to just kind of go with a, hey, great job. That's bull. It's pointless feedback, right? You can always be complimentary. You can always tell people they've done a great job, but maybe push why. Oh, this is a really great section because you identified this, or, I really liked your idea here because it made me think about things in this way, right? So don't just go for surface level feedback. You want to dig deeper and really provide good and useful feedback for one another. That's the whole point, right? So I want you to take a few moments to watch this video. It's from the University of Montana, and it just really walks through kind of the basics of peer review. For some of us, it may have been a while since we went through something like that, or for others, maybe this is one of our first times doing peer review. So it gives you some useful information. In the discussion area, that's where we're going to share our portfolios. Okay, so here I'm following here. So scroll down and see what group you're going to be placed in. Oh, my bad. So what I want you to do is, let me just go straight there. Don't get close your eyes for a second so you don't get nauseous. Okay. So in the peer review section, you're going to find the group that essentially has your name included in the title. That's how I'm going to separate you. Some of you will have 4 people in a group, some of you will have 5. It's all intentional, right? It's to have really great, useful feedback from one another. So you want to think about the fact that your initial portfolio, you need to revise, your work from the past few weeks. Consider the feedback that I offered for week 2 and week 3. You haven't finished necessarily with week 4 yet, so I'll try to provide feedback for that during the week. But look at my feedback. Let me know if you have questions. Some of you, I just offered very surface level kinds of information, maybe some MLA or research feedback. For some of you, maybe more content based, so it just changed, right? Take a look at that. Update, revise, as best as possible, and then upload your document to your groups area in the discussion board. So you're going to find your group area and you're going to start your own thread and put your name as the title. Okay, so essentially you're going to be in your own little group thread, and that's the only place you're going to post, right? And you're only going to respond to one another's initial post. So you're going to have your name as the title, and then everybody providing you feedback is going to stick in that area. So we just want to make sure that everybody's posting in the right place so that your group doesn't have to, struggle to hunt down your work, right? So be very mindful about where you're posting and follow the instructions, okay? So here it says, in addition to uploading your file as an attachment, right, and when you save your file, you want to make sure it's in .doc or .docx format. That's a Word file, so if you're saving it in Word, it should be fine. Just double check the extension when you go to click Save, that it's, the title of your portfolio, which just put your first name, last name in portfolio draft or something easy like that. Make sure it's then .doc or .docx. Please avoid using any symbols or punctuation or things like that in your title when saving in Word, because sometimes it's funky and it won't let other people open documents like that. So just be on the safe side. Okay, so you're going to add that attachment, right? And then after watching the video, I want you to offer in the text box part of your post not only some information about what the video, the University of Minnesota Writing Studies program, what they define as global and local aspects of a draft, right? So think about that, because you're going to want to do those global you're going to want to focus on the global aspects, but also, focus, more succinctly probably on the local as well, right? So I also want you to identify, what do you want your colleagues to focus on? I'm right in this section right here, right? What do you want your colleagues to focus on in your writing? Some of you may know that you have tendencies to have run-on sentences, or you have tendencies to maybe have some difficulty in providing context or whatever the case may be. If it were me, I always have trouble with the passive voice. It is a bad habit in my writing that I work to correct, but this is why when I write, I share my work with others. I peer review my work because I know I have some of these things that I can look at my own draft a million times and not see that passive voice or some of my other tendencies as I write. So identify some of those things that other people can focus on, right? Where do you struggle with the writing? Is it the grammar? Is it the punctuation? Is it the spelling, research, any of those kinds of things? Let the people know what to focus their energies on. In addition to, they're going to provide just some general feedback as well, okay? So that's what you'll post in the text box for your colleagues, okay? So after you've done this, you need to, between Wednesday and Friday, go in and see what your colleagues have posted. You need to open up their document and you need to provide them feedback. So in thinking about that, I'm just going to pull up our template just to give you an example. So if you're in Microsoft Word, you want to use the track changes feature. If you don't know exactly where to go to find it on your program, just use the help button or, click the search button. Mine's going to look a little different from yours because I'm using a Mac computer. So if I go to review, I'm going to click on the track changes. So some of you will have the review option. Some of you might have tools as one of them. So just search for track changes. You can always do a Google search too to find out where it might be on your program. When the track changes feature is clicked on, okay, it will show anything that you type or anything that you want to do. So say, oh, I have a question about this first sentence. This is just an example. So you'll see that the font is in a different color. It's also underlined. It defaults to red. Some of yours may actually default to green or blue. It's cool, okay? Don't be thrown by the red. It doesn't mean something's wrong. It's just so that it stands out on the page and you can see and differentiate between your work as the author and then the feedback you're getting from your colleagues, okay? So you can type directly in the text. You can also highlight a section and click New Comment. And it puts a little comment on the right-hand side. Okay, so know that when you're doing this, you can do both so that it doesn't seem so overwhelming on the page. But as somebody who's going to receive this feedback, make sure you're looking all over your document for that kind of feedback, okay? Another thing you can do is you can highlight a section and just generally go in and make it stand out on the page, right? And then next to it, you can type a note here, right? So you're going to want to include things within the actual text for people, right? Some of it may be grammar, punctuation, spelling, asking questions, right? But at the end, you also want to provide a more like holistic response. So overall, what's the sense that you're getting? Overall, do you have any lasting questions or lasting bits of advice that you want to offer? I want you to also, as people who are offering their feedback, know your limits, right? If you are not somebody who feels like you have strong grammar, you don't have to force it, right? But, in the same vein, you don't have to be an expert. So if you read something and you're going, well, I'm not a grammar expert, so, just type something seems kind of wrong here. I'm not understanding. Maybe it's a grammar issue. Your job is not to correct every single aspect of somebody else's work. It just takes too long, and it's not the useful kind of feedback that is really going to help us move to the next stage of the draft, okay? So know that you don't have to correct every little thing. If you see something wrong with MLA, all you need to do is put a little note in that says, hey, I think something's wrong with the citing here, or hey, I think there's something up with the citation. Maybe double check that. Okay, so if you want to go in and correct those things, you are certainly welcome to do that, but the responsibility is on the original author to do that work. All you need to do is note it there. But again, if you're not an expert in those areas, you can still say, hey, not an expert here, but I think, that any feedback is going to be useful. Along those same lines, remember that you are the author, so you are going to make the ultimate decision. You're going to get all these different sets of feedback. Some of them you may agree with, some of you may not agree with. So you make those decisions. It's your work, okay? Jumping back to what you're seeing on the screen, right? I want you to make sure, y'all, please hear me now, please save your work in PDF format. This is so that when your colleagues go to open the document, they can see it. PDF is essentially an image, right? So if you save it in Word format, sometimes when people open the document, they're not going to see the track changes. It's just easier to save it in PDF format and share it, and you can all do this. You just go to File. I'm outside of what you can see right now, but I'm clicking File, Save As. You know, this pops open or some version of this, and you should be able to change your file format to PDF. Okay, that just ensures that all the comments that you leave on the page will be visible. Okay, so make sure that you also know I'm going to be in the discussion boards. I'm going to be checking what you have offered as feedback. So don't skimp out on that feedback, y'all. You know, make sure that it's good and strong, right? Okay. So I put here, you know, I strongly suggest that you save your file, you know, as a PDF document to return that feedback, right? Go to their thread, right? So say, you know, I'm offering Joe Schmo. I'm offering Joe Schmo feedback. I'm going to go to his original post with his name on the title and respond attaching the document there with his feedback so that everything for Joe is contained in that one thread. Okay, so there are some more directions here. Pay attention to those, but I'm going to scroll down. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to open up the discussion and then I'll scroll down. Okay, so here are the general directions, right? And then below are going to be the list of groups. You're going to see your name, right, in the group area. So I have created an example group with some stellar people that I'm going to be helping out today. I'm on a Marvel kick, so just forgive me for that. So what I'm going to do is, okay, I found my name here. I'm going to click, and this is the only area where I'm going to post anything. This is my group's thread. I can see my group names at the top. I've copied and pasted, right, the instructions here. So don't be thrown when it says go here, go here. You're in the right place here. Okay, so essentially the only threads that should appear below are going to be your group members with their names, right? So in this example group, this, you know, it's already, it should be pre-filled. I'm going to delete everybody else. This is my name. I am posting my work here. So in this example, I'm typing out all the answer and the response from the prompt up above. And then I'm going to click Add Attachments. I'm going to find my portfolio with, you know, my first and last name and portfolio draft in .doc or .docx format. I'm going to upload that, and then I'm going to click Post. Okay, so then it's going to appear just with my name. So everybody in my group is going to go to my name. They're going to see what they need to do in terms of feedback. They're going to read what I want, and then they're going to download my portfolio and then work on it as a Word file, right? Save it, and then they're going to go back to this same place and they're going to respond in this thread. Okay? Don't get thrown by all of this because it's going to be much more visual when you see your group's work. So I just want you to note that you're only posting in your group's area. And then all the posts for me are going to be under my original post, right? So if Captain Marvel goes in and she offers me all of her feedback, she's going to respond to my original thread with my name, give me that feedback, right? And then Thor is going to go in and he's going to respond in the same area. So all the feedback associated with me and my work is going to be under this thread. Okay, all of Captain Marvel's feedback is going to be in her thread, that kind of thing. All right, so I hope that this clears up. I know that there are a lot of directions here, so I wanted to walk you through them in addition to typing them all out for you. So if you have any questions, please let me know sooner rather than later, so I can either answer them to everybody in the Q&A section or answer via email, whatever is going to help. Good luck, y'all. We are almost there. Y'all are doing so well. Keep it up.